So today we are going to speak about how to increase the survey response rate, specifically in B2C, because like if we talk about Indonesia and other people that we work with, they are from B2C, and it was requested from such a long time. Every demo call I go to, this question would come in that how can we increase the response rate? So we thought, okay, if that's the case, let's do a webinar on it so that everyone can learn and also share their thoughts or questions what they have. Okay, so we'll start with the first point today. So like when we talk about increasing the response rate, so most important part is that we ask the right questions at the right time and on the right channels. So just before I begin, can everyone just confirm on the chat that they can also see my screen? If even if a one person does, that's okay. Yes, Garvit mentioned. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so the most important part is asking the right questions at the right time and on the right channel. So but timing is everything when it comes to survey response rate. So you should know which survey to send at what time and channel. So what we can do, so know the right time. So what do I mean by the right time? So if you're, let's suppose you are working in customer support, so if your customer recently interacted with you, so send the survey after the interaction, because nobody is going to remember the conversation after 2 weeks or 2 months, for example. I've seen some people sending surveys 2 weeks or 3 weeks later after the interaction happened. But at that time, would you remember everything? So if you can't, then the customer won't as well. So right timing is important. Hence, I think now with technology, doing integrations is a very good part, that so that these things can be automated. As soon as something happens, as soon as a ticket gets closed, the survey can be sent immediately. Second is send them on the right channel. So for example, in Indonesia, if we talk about, everyone prefers WhatsApp these days. Like each and everyone is on WhatsApp, and we even did a study where it said that 97% people use it. So why send surveys on SMS if there is an option to do it on WhatsApp? So if you have an SMS service, like some of the telecom clients or some of the broadband clients as well, they have SMS service. It's okay to try it when you have 1 million customers, so that you know, even if you get a lower response rate, but you have so many customers to send the service that you'll get a decent enough sample, then it's okay. But try if you can do on the same channel where they are, where your customers are. The other one is, like, let's suppose you have a chatbot and you are helping them around on the chatbot, so send the survey inside the chatbot itself. And with technology, all of that is possible, so that will help you increase the response rate. The other thing is also is asking the right questions. So I've seen brands ask NPS question immediately after a customer just bought their product. So customer has not even used it, how can they reply to an NPS question? So either they will not understand why you are asking this, or they will give you a response which is related to your sales process. So avoid doing that, and you'll see the response rates increasing. I'll also share an example in the next slide. So one of our clients, Indomobile, I hope in Indonesia people are familiar with them. So they were using CATI service, which are phone call service before, and now they shifted to first email, and then we shifted them to WhatsApp service. So currently they receive a response rate between 30 to 40% from the past 1 year, and it's consistent. So those kind of things have started being trusted by the clients as well. Now there are many, but I don't have a permission to share, so that's why I just shared their name. Any questions, anyone? If you have any question around this? Yeah, so Rajneesh has a great thought. Anyone wants to reply? Are you aware what channel works for you, or what kind of responses you get? If someone wants to reply, they can, or if you have any question, please sure to ask. I'll move to the next slide. Yeah, Garvit says he's in B2B. Okay, so the next one is create surveys as short as possible, especially the transactional ones. So transactional ones are like right after the support, or you have taken a Gojek ride, or you have someone in your fintech has made a transaction, uh, or they have used OFO for doing some transaction. So if you want to ask the survey for those transactions, make it short. Don't make a 20 questionnaire survey just for those transactional surveys. So what can you do for this? Make them short with, if you have like 5 6 questions, make sure that most important questions are done at the top, just in case the respondents don't complete the survey, at least the most important ones are there. Second, which one thing which many brands do, and which is completely which pisses off customer, is don't promise them a 2-minute survey in an email if you're going to ask 1,000 questions on it. So many times I've seen that you send a survey, oh, it's going to take a couple of minutes, but it has 20 questions in. So deliver what you promise. Don't don't make them feel that, oh, they just cheated on us. And if in case you are new, or there is something that you would like to know, and you feel that people are not responding to your surveys in that case, and there are too many questions, then schedule an interview. Like you can do 5 to 10 qualitative interviews, and that will give you much deeper insight than a survey would do. So that's the thing about transactional surveys. Do we see any questions in the chat?
Yeah, I guess we have a question right now.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone, wait. I think yeah, WhatsApp is expensive versus mail or even SMS.
I
So
mhm.
Ankesh asking this question. So
Okay.
Tanuj, what do you have for
So,
for Ankesh?
Ankesh, thank you for your question. I think WhatsApp now, if I talk about Indonesia and also India, uh, if I talk about Indonesia for sure, WhatsApp is like much cheaper than SMS now. So, if you talk about mails, yes, of course, mail is a little bit cheaper. But the thing is, if your customers are not replying on mails, you are not getting a decent enough sample, then it's WhatsApp is not that expensive that you cannot do your research. So it's a little bit um, expensive than mail, but cheaper than SMS. So it's something that we can do. The other question, other point that Mohammed Aditya have mentioned, emails is more appropriate for me in my company. Okay, and
Yeah, this completely varies.
yeah, this completely varies. No other questions, so then I'll move to the next slide. Okay, so like you can incentivize them. Sometimes say that incentivization is good, and sometimes incentivization is bad. So if you're doing a transaction survey, if it has just 2 3 questions, you don't have to incentivize them. And but for relationship or benchmarking surveys that we conduct, incentivization is decent enough, because you are going to ask them for a 15 to 20-minute survey, and which will have like 30 to 40 questions or maybe more. So it's important for them to get something in it, that what's the value, otherwise they'll not respond. So ask them if they are willing to participate. Give them some incentives, like it can be gift cards, coupon, or even mobile phones. I'll talk more about it, like in the last 2 3 surveys that we have conducted, how incentivization has helped. And always and always, if they are willing to spend that much time, thank them for their participation. So like Ankesh mentioned about WhatsApp, incentivization needs to be done carefully, as it might turn out to be a very very costly affair for you. So what we have done in the last 2 3 projects that we did with auto companies and also banking, so for benchmarking surveys, the incentivization that we did is, we gave mobile phones to 2 to 3 users, which will cost around like 5 6 million in Indonesia, and around, I would say, 15,000 or 20,000 in India. So we'll give incentivization that if 2,000 people are filling the survey, we'll give 2 people mobile phones, and 15 to 20 people will give some vouchers, like Amazon vouchers or Tokopedia vouchers, or depending on what. And that has been working really well. So in the last 3 surveys, the response rate has been 25 to 30%. people are happy that they are getting the mobile phones, even though if there are 2 to 3 people who get it, and the other 50 to 100 people who are getting coupons, they are happy as well. So rather than incentivizing everyone, which will be like super expensive for you, you can do a gift kind of a thing, which works for us. And if anyone has any questions, they can let me know about this, because incentivization is something which has been working really well for us. Yeah, Ankesh, we can say WhatsApp is expensive, but if there is something in WhatsApp that you you have to use, you can contact me. It's cheaper here in Indonesia. Okay, so any question on incentivization? Anyone has anything to share? We'd love to have some questions today, so that like we can answer if you have any doubts. So we'll try to make it as engaging as possible, guys. So please, if you have any questions, do let us know. Otherwise, I'll move forward. Renish, meanwhile, can you open that poll? So uh, in this at this time today, like when we sent the invites, many of the people said in Indonesia, like they were not able to join the webinar because they were like too busy. So we just wanted to ask a simple poll, like if you are in Indonesia, because India is like 1.5 hours behind, so they'll be fine. If you are in Indonesia, can you let us know what time you prefer for the webinars? It will be good if everyone answers on this. Yeah. And for people who have joined from India, Jakarta time is like 1.5 hours further from us. Like we are 12:30 right now, so they are 2 p.m.
Or you can suggest any other time.
Yeah, that you can write in the chat. So Rinish, many like I see many people are talking about 5 to 6 p.m. Jakarta, and it's like both the times equal winners.
2 to 3 and 5 to 6.
Yeah.
I think 5 to 6 I can relate, because this is the time when you
Everyone is free from office.
Yeah, you completed your office work, then you can switch to some other learning stuff.
Yeah, I think we so it's kind of like
I think
I'll end the poll now. Yeah, and we'll share the results. Thank you everyone for sharing this. So people have responded. It's 2 to 3 p.m. or 5 to 6 p.m. There's a tie. So I'll share the results now. So I think we can do like both, Renish, one webinar at this time and the other at that time, and that's how we can see.
Yeah,
okay,
that works for us.
Okay, so we'll close the poll. So no questions for now. So Renish, we can move to the fourth point.
Sure.
Just give me a moment. It takes a little bit time for my screen to move.
No issue, no issue. I hope.
You can see?
Yeah, I can. I
Okay.
hope everyone can also see. So our fourth point is minimizing the survey fatigue. So what is minimizing survey fatigue? You experience, you don't have to bombard customer with the surveys. What this exactly mean? And as we know, like we are not the only one who are sending the survey. And in my personal experience, I got multiple surveys at the same time from different companies. So that can be a survey fatigue for any user. So what can we do? Like in this case, what can we do? Um, we just need to make sure you don't have to share the survey mode, one survey in a month. Every survey platform have this option, so they can control it. And the second thing is also make sure all your teams are not sending survey at the same time. You might not aware your different teams are sending survey at the same time, like your sales team, marketing team, product team, all are sending the survey at the same time. So we also make sure if this is not happening. And and how can we control this? We will recommend use one platform to send the survey so that you can manage the feedback easily, because if everything is at one platform, it's easy to easy to understand or manage. You don't need to look after for another platform to see what is exactly happening. So if all are aligned with a same platform, this is easy to get the feedback or understand what is happening. So
Okay. Thank
yeah,
you for sharing this. So I also got a question, the first question, and also a team member from uh, Varisana from Indomobile just mentioned that she was the one who started Catty 7 years ago. And the good part is, like, at that time WhatsApp was not there, and now as things have changed, how Indomobile have adopted to the new technology. So which is a very good thing and encouragement for other brands as well. And then there is a question in the Q&A that comes in: is it possible to boost the survey by WhatsApp, and how to validate the respondent that samples are based on our real customer? So on WhatsApp, the surveys that we send, we already have the phone numbers of the people who to whom we are sending the surveys. So we know that the person who, as that phone number cannot be like morphed and the survey won't go to anyone else. So the person who is actually responding is the person who has that phone number. So it's exactly same like email. And because I've been using WhatsApp for like more than a year now with more than 10 brands, so we know the data quality is even much better than the other surveys we used to send, which were anonymous. So that is going on in the right direction because we know that it's their number. Okay, so Ankesh sends a message: is it advisable to send the same survey through multiple channels, emails plus SMS or emails plus WhatsApp?
I
Ankesh,
think
if we yeah, you want to
yeah,
answer
Tanuj.
this?
No,
Yeah,
I think I'm trying to say we are going to cover this point in upcoming slides. So Ankit,
yeah,
Anikesh, you will get this answer.
yeah. Just for one thing, if Ankesh would one thing I would like to mention here to you, like same survey through multiple channels at the same time we should not. So for example, if you're sending the survey on email and they don't respond, then you can send a reminder over SMS or WhatsApp. So do not just send two at two channels together. Use one, send the other one as a reminder. And that happens in US. When we work with US customer, this happens a lot. So they try to send the survey over email, and if the people don't respond, they then the second survey is sent over SMS. So that is the way you can do the multiple answer thing. Hope you got my answer. Okay, so let's move to the next part. And Rajneesh, I totally forgot that we have this answer already. Sorry.
Not an issue.
Okay. I don't know why it takes time to move to the next slide. Do you see the next slide or you still see the fourth, Rajneesh?
We are seeing fourth slide.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is another thing that is very, very important, and I'll share some examples of it as well, that share the purpose of the survey with your customers. So what do I mean by that? I see most of the emails are like, we would love your valuable response. Your response will be very valuable, and that in different languages as well. And we would love if you can give us feedback. So these are like very common things which every company is sending it. So we have to differentiate, we have to stand out when we are sending email invitations, right? So, and the second thing is we should be as honest as possible. Like, why should they share the feedback with us? Why should they put in their efforts? What's in it for them? And when you're asking for feedback, because you are being selfish at that time, right? Because you need that information, it's nothing it for them. So if you want to ask them how you can improve, then make an effort to send a message, a text message or an email which knows that what you are going to do with the survey results. And if you're not going to do anything with the survey results, they will stop responding. And that happens all the time, that your response rates keep on decreasing because either you don't do anything on the survey results or you don't tell them what you done. So here are some examples that we took that have worked for different people. So this is a laptop company. So what the way they sent the survey is: be honest, what do you think of this new body? So they have received a new laptop, so they're asking, what do you think of your new body? So little bit more personalized than a normal survey, which if you see at the middle, it's the same. We value your feedback. So this is something we should not directly send. Be a little bit creative while sending the survey. So then there is another example. So someone like registered with something. So they said, we are excited that you registered at Macy's, but before we talk gifts, deals, and everything, we'd love to hear how we can make registering even easier and better. So now this is like when we are sending a survey, we don't have to sound all the time professional. We have to speak in the language which our customers do these days. It's like a conversation. So your brand is also for them. If you make your brand as a human, then it makes them feel much better. So you can use informal languages in surveys. That's not a problem at all. And one other thing that I would like to highlight, which works really well, which everyone tries to avoid, they send the survey through the company name. Why? If you are, let's suppose, the vice president, if you are you are the VP, or you are the customer success manager, or you are the customer support head, why not just send the survey with your signatures in it? It's an email signature, cause it makes them feel personalized, that this survey is coming from the VP, the survey is coming from the CEO. So if you look at the here, in here, Susan is actually sending the survey from her side. So it's not just the brand, it's the human touch that happens.
Yeah, so Tanuj is trying
Mm-hmm.
to say connection has to be there. Like
Yeah,
the end user should feel like you are connecting with them.
absolutely. Hmm. So the other survey which I really liked, so that's why I want to share it. Like Vince is another brand for fashion, and they say Vince wants to know what you think, and your email and end of the quick survey, and you could be randomly selected as one of the 3 winners to receive the $1,000 shopping voucher. So this is something where we uh, incentivization is required, and you can send an email like this. And this also email, if you look at it, it feels more human. So use your a little bit of marketing copies and take help from marketing, make it more personalized like you would do in your advertisement. You try to make it more human, more connected. So make your surveys that way. I think there is a question that have been coming. I have been conducting online survey using WhatsApp with resident, or after the service, then they ask for the result. I can't share the result because I just the third parties of the house company. They hire us to do results. Will it drop the response rate in the future if the resident don't have the result survey? So it will not have if you do not share the results, that's okay. But what you should share is what are you going to do about it. So let's suppose they told you XYZ in the survey results, and if you cannot share it, first of all, don't send it in the email that you are going to share results. When they have responded with XYZ, tell them after a month that everyone will receive an email communication that these are the 2-3 things that we are going to improve because of the feedback that you gave. That's called communication. Like we do communication in marketing, we can send newsletters, emails, or anything for them to know that you told us this and this is what we are going to do. So you don't have to share the results like you mentioned, but share with them what you will do with that survey. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Any more questions, anyone? Please type in the Q&A if you want it to be anonymous. If you want it to share on the chat, you're most welcome. Okay, and move to the next slide. Okay, so the other thing that has worked really well for our customers and like for us as well, we are B2B, we can do that easily. But for example, if you can pre-notify your customers, then it's okay. Like as soon as they sign up on your platform, and you are you're saying something as soon as you're signed up on the platform, then you can let them know that you are going to be sending them survey like once a month to understand how we are doing and how we can improve. You can pre-notify them. And if they're like talking in on the contact support, when they're calling your support and your agent is about to finish the call, they can also let them know that there will be a 2 question survey at end of the call if they wish to participate, because that actually helps. Like today, what I'm going to do with you guys, when you are about to leave the Zoom, you will get a 3 question survey, that how was the webinar, and do you like it, do you have any other suggestions for next topics. So make sure that you fill that, and this is how you can pre-notify your customers like I did to you today. So make sure your customer support teams actually notify your users who give you a call that there will be a survey coming in the 2 minutes. But
So
the Renish, you want to say something?
yeah, I think I've experienced something in recent time.
Hmm.
For this notification thing, I was in bike showroom, and
Hmm.
I was there for servicing of a bike. So once the
Hmm.
servicing was done, told me you will get a call from our team for your
Okay.
experience. So I told them at that time I'm not free between this time to this time. So I will be like, if you call me about this time, this will be
Hmm.
a better for me to engage. So I
And
can
they
give you
did.
a honest feedback. So yeah, they called me on my preferred time, and that time I was free, so I was able to get my honest feedback to them.
So that's
So
also a
yeah,
good
this
point.
works.
Yeah. If there is an option to do this, like you should, like in car servicing sector or bike servicing sector, or even a hotel, if you are working in those cases, it's easier to pre-notify them that way. Also, one more thing that I want to add, if you're telling your support team to tell the customers that there will be a 2 minute survey, make sure that the call is monitored in a way that they are not bribing or they are pushing the customer to give a good rating. That happens a lot, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that we do, in through which we can never improve. That when our support team starts telling the customers that give us a better feedback, like give us a 9 or 10 or I would lose my job. So this is something that you need to monitor about.
Tanuj, I think we have another question in Q&A.
Okay, I'm having a look. So we have done a lot of things to improve our survey, change the questionnaire, added Viber in addition to email, sent it closer to their end of transactional, personalize the signature, but we still only get 5% completion rate. Should we take into consideration the partially complete? Yes, you should. You should always take into the consideration the partial completed surveys. And like you mentioned, after that transaction, I don't know if you can share that on the chat, but I would like to know that how many questions survey it was. Is it a short question like a 2 question survey, or is it a like a 10-15 question survey? Because if it's a long survey after a transaction, most probably they'll not reply. But if it's a short survey, 2 minute question, then they will. And somehow, for some reason, if you want to uh, make the survey longer, like you are saying, then make sure your top questions, like if it's a CSAT or a customer effort score, are at the top, so that at least when they respond to that and the follow-up question, you get some data at least. So please consider partially completed surveys and ask your most important questions at the top. That's what I would say. Okay, and another question is, any suggestion on how many attempts that we can send reminder to the respondent for joining the survey by WhatsApp? I think in WhatsApp, up to 2 reminders work pretty fine. So one original message, then a second reminder after 3 days, and then after 7 day, a third reminder, and also let them know that you're going to finish the survey in within the 7 days, so they know that it will be finished if they don't fill today. So yes, you can send 2 reminders. Okay, then Ankesh has another question. How do we find the right time to send a survey? If we are sending it once a day, on a mass scale, asking preferred time would be difficult. Yes, Ankesh, very very good question. In this case, the only thing you can do is A/B test. So, or you can ask a question like we did on the poll today, that what time you'll prefer a webinar. So you are sending surveys to them, either do A/B testing, send at, like, let's suppose 8:30 a.m. in the morning. So we just sent a survey at 8:30 a.m. in the morning in Jakarta, and we got huge response rate. Then try to send around 3 to 4 p.m. when people are trying to get free. So try these two times, A/B test it, and see which one gets you response rate. And otherwise, just add a last question in the survey, because we really value your opinion. Can you let us know at what time suits you to send a survey? So you can ask a question, Ankesh. Okay, then there is another question. It's still a long survey. Should we do randomized questions? Some questions to a percentage of customers, another set of questions to. Okay, so if it's a long survey, first of all, that we should know that uh, what are the top questions that we need to ask. That is the most important thing. So every survey should have an objective. Like even this webinar has an objective for guiding everyone, right? And also come answering some questions that are new even to me. So first of all, in this, don't randomize the questions. Take the most important questions at the top, for which you definitely need the answers to. Second, what you can do, that is also another thing that has worked for us. After 3 to 4 questions, ask people that would you be willing to participate in some more research, because we need more answers, and put a logic there. If they say yes, then only share the other questions to them. So if you're sending it to like 1,000 customers, at least 15 to 20 will fill that too, who are more connected with your brand. So try that once and get back to me on another webinar, or catch me on LinkedIn, and we can see, because some things in survey you will have to try. So keep trying these two things that I told you, and let's see how the response comes in. Any other questions we have in the chat, Rajneesh?
No, Tanuj, I don't.
We
Think
don't.
so. We have.
Okay, so there is one another.
Okay, just one question.
So reason why our survey is long is because the results are used as scores by different team members. Okay, I got it. So that makes sense. I can guide you, like on I think on a separate call as well. I can guide you much more on this. If it's okay with you, I'll ask a poll in some time, where if someone wants to connect with us later, one-on-one, personal connection, just to have all their doubts cleared, because it will be more specific to your use case. We can answer that then. So I'll just ask a poll in some time, so you can reply to that, and we'll connect personally. Okay. So I'll move to the next part. So yeah, so this is also another thing which is like really important these days, and we have seen this work really well. So for example, some of our customers use Zendesk or Intercom or even Freshdesk. So sending the surveys when people are interacting with them over the chat, like customers prefer chat these days. So sending surveys inside that chat is actually going to boost your response rate a lot, because people are interacting as soon as the agent closes the ticket, and automatically the survey goes in the chat. So that is something which is new, and it is working for us and many of our customers. So this is something that you can try. That is one way. The other is, for example, people are using your app, or you are B2B, people are using your platform. So after a month, or after they use a specific new feature, you can send a pop-up survey inside that application itself. Like if you guys use Gojek, you or even if you guys use Google Meet. So as soon as Google Meet ends, there is a survey that comes in. How was the audio and the video today? I don't like that question though, that audio and video both cannot if the person likes the audio but not the video, how will they reply? But they ask it just after the it happens, but it's in the chat itself, and so does Zoom. So try to integrate in a way that if people are using the chat option, then the survey goes into the chat. If people are using your platform, then the survey opens up on the platform itself. Rajneesh, Shivansh, would you like to add anything?
No, Tanuj.
Okay, so I'll move to the next slide then.
There is another question, by the way.
We have
Tell,
another question.
yeah, go ahead. Tell me the question.
Hi, thanks for the session. I have been conducting survey by sending them through WhatsApp to our users, and all the points mentioned before has been done. Okay, and not too many questions. Explain what the survey is for. At the beginning, there is an incentive, and we thank them for participating. But the response rate is still very low, especially the older demographic users, parents. It took me sending 100 WhatsApps to get only 5 responses. Is this response rate normal, considering the target responded in parents, or is there anything else we can be improved?
I think for parents, if they are the older generation, it might be difficult for some of them. Like I'm just thinking whether my parents who are like 70 can fill the survey or not. Uh, like my father can, but mother cannot. So in these cases, when the target audience is that specific, like very small kids or like parents, then it's easier to just give them a call and ask. That is where catty surveys actually help, because if your audience is different, we like we told them, you, that we have to choose the right channel. So right channel, we choose it for our audience. So in these kind of cases, when the audience is too big, and if we are okay with 5% response rate, like we got 200 to 300 samples of surveys, then it's okay. But if we are not getting even that, to get that booster sample, it's preferable to do a catty to those kind of people. So catty is survey over phone, if you're not aware about that. Okay, then this, like, one of the most important points, so that's why I kept it at the end, so that when everyone is engaged, closing the loop with the customer is one of the best things that you can do, because you are being selfish when you are conducting a survey. People are trying to give you answers, and if you do not do anything with the answers that they have given you, within 2 to 3 surveys or after 2 to 3 surveys, they will stop responding, because you are not telling it to them what you did with the results. So customers feel that when brands take the survey, they are not going to do anything with it. That's what customers feel. And if you do something with it, they get surprised, because not every brand is doing it. And when you tell them as well that we have done something about it, now their surprise is even more, that okay, this brand not only listens to us but also tells us what they are doing with my feedback. And then you will start seeing within a year your response rate might increase from 10% to even 20. And that I have seen with many of our customers, because they are doing something which no other brand does, is communicating what they are going to do. It's as simple as that. The other part that helps is follow up. Like some of the customers, if they give you a negative rating, they expect you to follow up. Now in B2B, you can follow up with almost everyone, but in B2C, you cannot follow up with everyone. So the things that you can do is, let's suppose you asked a NPS question, and the follow-up question is, why did you give this score? And everyone has given you answers to the verbatim. So now go through those verbatims and try to see what are the top trends from that verbatim. Are people talking about support? Are people talking about the brand? Are people talking about maybe a feature of the product? Once you found it, those trends, now within those trends, try to see where the negative sentiment is and call a few customers with those trends. So if it's for support team, ask your support team to give them a call. If they cannot, you do it, for if you are part of the CX team. Give them a call and try to understand why customers felt that way. That is where you get most of the answers, and also the trust of the consumer that this company actually cares. So it's not that because I mentioned I don't like the support, but I did not mention anything else in the survey. So they are making an effort to give me a call to understand and deep dive what happened. And that builds trust, and trust, if they trust you, they'll respond you even more. So call those customers who have the negative sentiment, negative trend, to deep dive, and then tell your teams these are the things that will have to improve. And once that is done, let the customer know you have done it. So
Tanuj, I would
closing,
like to add something in
sure,
this.
sure.
Yeah, so basically, what user feel like, the end user who are responding your survey, they should feel like they are contributing or they are being heard. If
Right.
this is always happening with them, they will
Hmm.
be more into give you a response in near future.
Absolutely right, Rajneesh. So I think there's another question that comes in. Any suggestion about ideally how many open-end questions should we integrate to a survey? Too many open-end questions may take participants fatigue and reluctant to answer. You are absolutely right. Uh, I will, for me personally, I never advise more than two surveys, and both of those open-ended questions, two open-ended questions are not non-mandatory. Don't make them mandatory. If customers want to answer, let them answer. But if, let's suppose, they're writing just that, oh, I'll hate the app, it crashes all the time, but you don't know why it crashes all the time because you customers have not responded to that way. Call those customers, because that will help your product team. Because if you just go to the product team that people are saying, I hate this app because it crashes all the time, product team wants to know where it crashes, why it crashes. So make those phone calls when they do not give you a complete answer. Don't hesitate to do that. Yeah, so two questions and phone calls will definitely help when they respond something like that. So I'll move to the next slide. And any questions, any other questions from anyone? Otherwise I'll try to show you some examples which have worked really well in communicating. So this one, the first one I shared previously as well, not in this, but there's a presentation that we did on NPS mistakes, and we shared that. So Olay, it's a beauty cream brand. So what they did, people were not happy. They were giving them bad ratings that I cannot open this stupid jar. I cannot get this jar open. Please reconsider the design of your jar. So they understood it that people are not able to open it. So they not only worked on the jar, but once they did, they sent a newsletter or magazine letter to everyone that you have spoken and we are listening. Now think about how many response rate they will get next time, because they know what they did. People feel that these guys care. So that is one example of how to communicate it to customers that we have done something about it. Second is, on the right hand side, you said we did. So you gave us feedback and we did. So you said we want you to become more environment friendly and we did this. So you said XYZ and we did ABC. Now you keep on sharing us feedback so that we can improve further. So these kind of messages, even in your survey email or even in your survey SMS, you don't have to send a newsletter if you cannot afford it. You can just send in your next survey email. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing feedback in our last survey. With your help, we have improvised our XYZ feature. Please share your feedback again and tell us more. So these kind of simple communications where you are communicating it to them what you did helps you increase the response rate. Rajneesh, Shivansh, would you like to share anything?
Yes, so I had an example in mind. So whenever
Mm-hmm.
you report a user on any of the social media platforms like Instagram, let's say, then
Mm-hmm.
Instagram notifies you when the account is blocked or if it is not blocked, something of that sort. So that promotes the user to, report it the next time he sees something offensive on the platform or something like that. So it's
Okay.
not only for your survey that you can perform this exercise. You can do it for anything that you are doing in life.
Like just communicate it to the customers. So, like why something is happening, why it's not happening, right? Thanks, Shivansh. Rajneesh?
Yeah. So the next slide is personalization is a key. So personalization, what is personalization? So when you sending the survey to the responder, it has to be like there has to be connection. They feel like there is a warmth between you and the survey. They
Hmm.
don't feel like a computer is asking us the question to them. It
Absolutely.
has to be like us, another person is connecting with them. So that's why always recommend to use pipe texting. Pipe texting is just something when a question is answered by the responder, the same thing is populated in the next question. For example, if someone is saying, what's your name? The question is what's your name, and they said my name is Rashnish, for example. So the next question, instead of how was your experience with us, instead of this, hey Rashnish, how was your experience with us? So
Yeah.
that works pretty fine because they know someone is interacting with them. So
Yeah. It's kind
personalization
of like a
is,
conversation. Yeah.
so we have an example like this cannot only be done in the survey. It can be also done in the email you are sending, the
Hmm.
the email, the WhatsApp, any channel you are using. The
Hmm.
body should have those warmth or personalization that. For example, recently Tanuj received an email from Amazon. I recently so Tanuj bought a searcher from Amazon. So what they have for Tanuj. So instead of they just ask how was your shopping experience, they say, "Hi Tanuj, hope you have loved your new shirt the Tanuj the shirt Tanuj bought from Amazon." So Tanuj feel like they are not just asking about their experience. They thought they know Tanuj what exactly bought from their,
What I did. Yeah.
yeah, and they want to understand about the user, not only about the experience they have. So in this case, you can see how, hi Tanuj, we hope you loved your new shirt. Mind telling about your shopping experience instead of
Yeah.
just saying about how was your
How was it?
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing this, Rajneesh. So this is something like can be used. So not just with the name. If they did something, just ask them because you at the back end know everything about what the customer did. So why not use it?
Or I think I have one more example to
Hmm.
add in here. We
Hmm.
generally see if we have if we have more than 10 questions or 20 questions. So in that case, if user is seeing the progress bar, in general you see the progress bar is there. So
Hmm.
what we what we experience from our past, those progress bar is something is always in our mind when we are trying to fill the survey, because we
Hmm.
see we have progressed 20%, then 80% is left. So the 80% is really big task to complete. So instead of this, you can use we will suggest to don't use those progress bar. Instead of that, you can say you have done some parts of your survey. You can
Hmm.
say it will take around, like you have completed this section, the other part will take only your 3 minutes to 2 minutes, or
Yep.
one more questions to go. That will more feel like a personalization between the responder and who draft the questions.
Yeah, that's also a very good point. Like you can divide some questions into sections. So like in the previous, there was a question that was asked about the person was anonymous, but they asked a question that we have different questions for different team members. So you can actually make the questions in sections, and you can know that this is the second last section or this is the last section that you have to fill. Please let us know. So divide them into sections and give them, like, try to create the survey as you will talk to them over a WhatsApp. Like it's a chat. Make it conversational. So that's what will help you increase your response rate. If is there any so because we are about to end the session in a few minutes, I think it's around, we have 7 more minutes left. So any more questions before I jump to the last slide, guys? If you have any more question, please let us know. And also I'm sharing a new poll, because what we try to do, everyone who joins the webinar, we just, so if we cannot answer every question, or you maybe because of some reason you're not able to ask the questions on the chat or anonymously, we can have a one-on-one free consultation, me, Rajneesh, you and Shivansh, and we can discuss what's happening with your questionnaire, how to design your questionnaire, and it's absolutely free. We are not here to sell anything. So I'm just sending a poll. So if you say yes to that, I will send you an invite shortly, like in a couple of days, and we can do a discussion whether you will need to discuss more on the survey response rate.
And why
So
we
it's
are
for,
saying this? Yes, sir. Yeah,
yeah.
Manoj.
Yeah, so it's just, if you have any more questions left, if you don't, you can say no, that's okay. But if you have anything you would like to share, please fill out a yes and we'll contact you out.
We completely understand. We all have different use case. We
Right.
all, so the solutions may vary from one person to another person. So these slides are completely generic, but solutions can be vary from one person to another
Absolutely.
person. So that's why we are asking this.
Yeah, so if anyone else wants to talk to us about survey response rate, or even if you talk about NPS, CSAT, anything related to survey, we can do a free consultation and talk about it. And it, because we have been doing this for a long time, make sure that this is not something we do a sales pitch or something. No, it's not that, because this is not something we want to do that way. So I'll just open the question for 15 more seconds. Poll, please, yes or no, you can answer. And for everyone else, if there is a question that is left that you want to answer to ask today, we just have 5 more minutes to go. So please, sure, you can ask that in Q&A or chat. Okay, if that's it, then I'll end the poll now. Thank you so much for responding. Okay, so what if after all this, like we did all of the stuff which someone asked a question as well, then and still people don't respond? So one thing that we have to do is actually analyze why they are not responding. Because if they're not responding, either a problem can be about like your audience is old, or it can be something else, or it can be even that the customers have stopped working with you. They're using some other brand. So sometimes you don't know why people are not responding, and if they are not responding, that means it's something bad. They are not engaged with your brand enough. So it's important to call them at that time. Just call 15 to 20 people, and who used to respond before or who never responded. Just understand why they are not responding to your service. So in one of the clients that we work with, what we saw, that the response rate of the survey was declining, and when we tried to call them, those people, they mentioned that they do not even use that brand anymore, and the client did not know. Then we related those response rate decline with the number of transactions that were declining, and there was a direct correlation. So they were losing business. They got to know this because the survey people were not responding to their surveys. So it's really good to call them. Just make an effort to understand what's going on. Maybe it's not that you will be losing business, but maybe your target audience cannot reply to surveys, and you might have to switch to a different channel, like a catty. So this is something which 95% of the people don't do. But please don't make this mistake. You can call people to understand why they don't respond.